Guys, it's us. We're doing the movie review. We are right now in our local Dunkin' Donuts, and we're going to give you a movie review, so ignore the sound behind us, but we're going to talk to you.
Having breakfast, doing a review on Snakehead Swamp. First comment, wow.
The problem with the movie was
One of many, but go ahead.
it just was, it tried too hard, and it lost a lot of story within trying to make a big story and within like computer graphics. And it didn't have to. It could have been a really good movie. It had an interesting plot. Also, a sign should be the number one sign. When it takes forever, no, actually, I'll rephrase it. When it's announced that a movie's coming out, go ahead, Dad. I'll think about what I'm going to say.
Okay, well, while she's racking her brain to figure out what to say, if I had to grade this movie, I'd grade it a C minus. And as my daughter said, it had the potential to be a lot better. The characters weren't bad. They played their parts well. Antonio Fargas was a central character in this because his great-great-grandmother supposedly was a what is it? A Mudu? Mamba, yes. In the old South in this area. And she was a healer and a spellcaster, and they accused her in her day of witchcraft and killed her, hung her, whatever they did, and she swore vengeance on the town through the swamp. And apparently Antonio Fargas believed that her predictions were coming true as more and more incidents took place within the swamp itself.
As a form of vengeance, the animals or whatever thing came.
Yeah, they could have done a lot more with him in that theme.
They should have.
To make it a bit more dramatic. You never saw any manifestation of her in some sort of persona which he claimed was causing all the grief that was going on. And they missed an opportunity there. But overall, I might watch it again just for the,
Really?
Yeah, I always like to watch movies twice just to make sure I, pick up what I might have missed the first time looking at it. And looking at it the second time with a more critical eye. But no more than two, believe me. Yes, two is enough.
Oh, I remember what I said. If a movie comes out and there's nothing posted on it, we just happen to be looking at the Sci-Fi Channel and wondering if something was coming on, and sure enough, this movie came out, and we're like, is this a new movie? And he's like, oh, I'm not sure. Let's look and see the date. It said 2014, and then we decided to watch it. Now that's a sign of this movie not being that good, because there was never an advertisement on it.
Never a lot of hype, never a lot of drama like there is in Sharknado 2.
Which,
they're coming back again.
what's the date, Dad?
July 19th or 20th.
You brought it up.
But soon, the return of sharks flying through the air, eating
There's
people.
commercials everywhere. Look for it. I'll tell you in
Looking
tomorrow.
forward to this.
Because I don't have my clipboard with me, which would give me all the information. The thing about the movie was the characters were developed, but some of them were totally unnecessary. I mean, while I liked Anthony Vargas's character, if they weren't going to do anything with it, why was he there? Because that's exactly what they did. They started the story and then did nothing with it. So why was he there?
He didn't help them. He didn't hurt them. I mean, it was almost like they were exploiting his star quality.
It's exactly what they were
And
doing.
they could have done a lot more with
sad
him.
because that story alone, for those who watched the movie, that story alone, you could have done a lot with that. You could make a show with that.
Could have done a nice little theme around the
That-
spirit.
That alone. The
and
history,
getting rid of the spirit,
past.
using him and his knowledge to try to help.
But that's it. They just put him out there. He was just a face to get a movie.
One good thing about it that I liked was the fact that when you approach the characters the thought and notion about some of this action being supernatural, they just didn't dismiss it offhand. They were a little skeptical, but they've been around long enough to know the swamp and understand that some of these things may have a grain of truth in them. I like that. I don't like the authority figures being so military minded and straightforward thinking and so stiff that they couldn't consider the possibility of something else other than what they've ever been trained for, being the cause of all this grief. So in that respect, I like the characters the way they were presented in that regard. There was some skepticism, but they didn't dismiss it offhand. They
But in the
allowed it to play
respect,
itself out.
but in the respect of Raging Cajun Redneck Gator, they did have the local yokels. They just had to do that.
Who got eaten, thank goodness.
I mean, we enjoy it. We enjoy watching movies that are kind of good, but just make an effort. That's all we ask. That's all you ask. You want someone to make an effort. And that's the problem with the movie. It had a great story. It had potential. The characters were good. Like,
Got a problem with the computer-generated graphics too.
Oh, please.
I mean, we all know what snakeheads are if you watch sci-fi long enough. These were modifications.
they were too cheesy.
Yeah, they were modified, steroid snakeheads. Cheesy, very cheesy. You could have done better with that.
Like the lead character, he had lost his brother in the swamp. Honestly, really didn't matter whether he did or didn't. He was attending a wedding of an ex-girlfriend who got married, and then she and her
To the local jock who should have had his jock over his head instead of the other part of his body.
and they disappeared in the story. They weren't around anymore. So we were wondering, I figured they would maybe come up or maybe even be eaten later on. That would justify, him being more interested in what's going on. No, nothing. He was more interested in like his best friend, girlfriend, best friend kind of thing, girl bud. And she was dating a jerk. And they
The jock jerk.
No, she married. There's a different jock jerk.
Oh, there are lots of jock jerks.
Ian,
Oh,
who was like the wealthy kid in town who family owned a boat, and they were going out for a boating trip, and that's when the whole thing with the
well, actually played his part very well.
he did he
Yeah.
played jerk very well,
Yeah, he was good in that. So.
and he sacrificed a lot of people.
Yes, he did, because he was a coward. But you'll see that when you see the movie.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, tell us what you think, because we go out of our way to do this. We just want to hear how much it affected your brain as well. It's important to us. Maybe we can help you. Come back.
Yeah,
to-
my brain's starting to leak out of my ear a little bit. So.
It did a little bit. It did drip a little bit. That's why we have extra napkins stuff
Thank you. Appreciate that.
right there. So, yeah, there's some more brain.
All right, I'm going to finish my breakfast. You can talk to my daughter if you want.
But guys, like I said, basically how we explained it to you and how we discussed it was basically how the movie was. It was like all over the place. The lead characters were good. It could have been better. The story was interesting. Could have been better. And like I said, that whole Anthony Vargas voodoo mamba stuff, sending it out to sci-fi. If you write something dealing with that story, you'll get something good out of that.
This breakfast could have been better too, but.
But that, you just let that part go.
Sorry.
Guys, we'll see you later.